Welcome to the Scott Townsend Show, brought to you by Dietzo Man Productions.
Welcome back to the Scott Townsend Show. Today I have with me good friend Tyler Glenn. Tyler, how's it going?
How's it going? Pretty good on this side.
Good. So I was really interested in hearing about the business that you're in, this seasoning, and I thought it would be a fun conversation to have. You've got this rub business, but before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who's Tyler Glenn, and what were you doing before Red Dirt Rubs?
Tyler Glenn, that's a question I don't really ask myself, but I guess you can say scholar, chef, mediocre athlete, go-getter, entrepreneur, Christian. I mean, there's a lot of things you can use, but nothing negative though. Honestly, I was just working my butt off because I was just waiting tables a lot and then just doing as many odd jobs as possible. Because after college, I moved back home and just kind of just did what I could. I didn't really have a plan, but I've always cooked a lot though, so it kind of came natural to start making my own seasonings because I always had my own blends anyways. So I mean, that's kind of how I got started.
So, have you been cooking for a long time? I mean, it sounds like you've been growing up cooking or something.
Quite a while, honestly, because I grew up with my grandmothers. I grew up around all women. So I mean, they're not all women are the only ones that cook, but I grew up around mostly women though. So I was around a lot of cooking and things like that. So I picked up a lot growing up.
Were you always interested in cooking and barbecue, or did that interest
I've always
develop later?
I've always loved food, especially barbecue, so it just came natural.
You remember the first time you created a seasoning blend and thought, wow, this might actually be good enough to sell?
Uh, I guess I always thought my food was good. I didn't really consider the seasoning as the main part of it. But eventually people did comment on the seasoning. I had got a lot of compliments and like a lot of do you have any leftover? Do you have any in the back? So as the request kind of like built up, I kind of figured maybe I had a good blend going. And it used to be, and honestly, in the beginning it was free. I never really charged anybody. Like I said, I tell people my mom was the one that told me, you should start selling because you're losing money by handing out stuff for free. I'm out here just, you know, the takers will take all day long, the giver, and at the end of the day, they're not gonna, force money on you. If it's free, it's free. So I mean, I've never gotten something for free and been like, you know what, maybe I should pay you. It's like, oh no, it's free, I'll take it, it's free. So eventually, I thought about that, and then Paul Hood, Hood and Associates, he got me started honestly because I was waiting tables at Sterling's, and then I went to his table and we always talked about it, and then he was like, "Well, come see me." So I drove to his Tulsa office, and then he set me all the way up, and it's been that was May 18th, 2018. So it's been all on me since then.
Right. So, who taught you how to cook?
It's not necessarily who taught me. A lot of it's just trial and error, just burn and learn kind of thing. Because I mean, I looked over my grandma's shoulders a lot growing up, but she didn't barbecue. I mean, like I said, but I mean, I cook really well because of my grandmas and my mom, but none of them taught me how to barbecue. I taught myself how to barbecue. So barbecue, one thing is you can look at all the videos you want to, and you can like watch tutorials and listen to people, but at the end of the day, it's you versus the fire. Because I mean, fire is the most unpredictable element in the world, and you can't. Yeah, I mean, no man's. I mean, if you can control the fire, then I mean, you can control the cook. Because I mean, in the day, if you have to really babysit barbecue, I don't care if you think you're a pit master. I don't care if you think you're a world class chef. You can't master. I mean, there's no really mastering a fire, but you can try to control it the best as you can.
I've never heard anybody explain fire quite like that.
You can control element. You can't. I mean, you can't control water. You can't control wind. You can't control fire. We're not avatars. We're just. We're just. I feel like barbecue. I mean, if you have like a pellet smoker, yeah, but I mean that's not necessarily real fire. I mean, we're talking about like fire, like man versus fire, like wood and fire.
Right.
That's battle. You know, from caveman days until now, the highest technology. I mean, fire is a wild element, and I feel like, I mean, the one who controls it best is usually the one that has the best food.
Right. Yeah.
Because I mean, because there's flips, there's fire goes out. I mean, you know, fire needs more fuel. I mean, barbecuing it's an art. It really is an art. Like I said, it's more than just seasoning. It's more than just, you know, putting, you know, throwing something on the grill. It's, you know, it's really, it's, you know, there's a lot of aspects when it comes to actual like barbecuing. It's probably one of the fires. I mean, like I said, fire cooking is one of the hardest arts, I believe. I mean, I don't bake. I can't say that because like I said, I've burnt a lot. I've burnt more things baking than I have barbecuing. So I'm not gonna take baking out of it. I'm just gonna say fire is a hard thing to control. But but the minimal parts that you can control, if you can, you're a great cook. I mean, but like also baking though, I can burn anything baking. Like I said, man, I have to open that. I have to open that oven like a million times and keep checking my biscuits. And those are pre-made. So I don't know. Like I said, I can only talk about the fire and the barbecue.
Yeah. So what at what point what what gave you the confidence to go from mixing some seasonings and making a rub for your friends and family to finally pulling the trigger and starting to sell it?
Honestly, the response I get from the audience or the now, I'm not gonna say I want to say customers because my family and friends aren't customers. I mean, they are now, but at the time, I'd say the audience or the people I was serving food to. I don't know really how to word it, but I mean, I guess that is the audience. So I mean, I guess the audience approval I'll go with. You know, the
Yeah.
all over approval of the product. And so once I see, you know, my friends and family like it, it's like, you know, that's the hardest audience to please. I mean, your
Right.
friends and family are the hard because they're almost judgmental of you, and you know they're not gonna lie to you because they want the best for you. You know, so I figure if I can please my friends and family, then you know a public audience or the strangers or the people that don't know me, I mean, it has to be even a better audience also to approach. So I mean, at that point, I was like, you know, just like anything, it's all leap of faith.
Right. Did
Yeah, it's believing in yourself. It's better. You got to better yourself.
and so that's what you're doing through your cooking.
Well, I don't. Well, my cooking isn't. I don't advertise my cooking. I advertise my product. So I mean, so I mean, I cook really well, but I'm not a. I'm not a. I don't have a store, or restaurant. I
Mhm.
guess I do cook for my events, but I'm not. I don't consider myself, you know, a restaurant or anything like that. So I put the cooking I do is to, you know, test out my seasonings, but that's how I know they're good blends. And I do give advice on what to use the seasonings on, but I've never considered myself a restaurant or someone that cooks for people. I mean, but like I said, other than when I do like events and things like that, that's when I will, you know, advertise, you know, I will say, hey, try my cooking out. But I'm not for sale cook or a restaurant based guy. I'm just a guy that sells seasoning for the most part.
So how did you get the name Red Dirt Rubs?
Well, it's a red dirt comes from the state of Oklahoma because you know there's red dirt country and there's green country. You know, so the other half of the state around the 405 and 580, they're the red dirt country. But since it's Oklahoma, all over, I consider red dirt to be the main name I wanted to use to kind of social because I'm from Oklahoma, born and raised. So is my family. So I wanted to put a part of Oklahoma within my company name. And what flows better than red dirt rubs? I mean, red dirt seasoning sounds kind of weird. And green country rubs don't sound bad, but it didn't roll off the tongue as well.
Right. So Red Dirt Rubs.
That's the one.
That's the
RDR.
one. So you were a kid and you're just fooling around in the kitchen and seasoning. You were throwing stuff together and testing it out. And I mean, how
Burning.
young? Burn and learn. How old were you when you
I've
started?
been cooking. Well, I've been cooking for a long time. I actually cooked for my fraternity in college. We had spaghetti nights and different events like that. I've always cooked. Even at my apartment complex on Sundays, I had fried chicken Sundays, and all the college kids come to my apartment, and I would just going wild out the door for everybody. It was like almost 200 kids sometimes, and I'm just sitting here
Dang.
pulling my college money together. Well, I know that's what it was. I mean, shout out to Bronte Steele, the apartment manager, because I worked for the apartment complex, so I never really got in trouble. But I was pumping out chicken, green beans, and cornbread, like and mashed potatoes, right out of college dorm. So I've been cooking for people for a long time, not professionally. Like I've always just been that guy that
Yeah.
could cook. Like
Yeah.
burning, like I said, and so I've never considered myself a professional, but I've always been able to cook, and I've always enjoyed providing meals for people.
How do you develop when you're developing your rubs? How do they get? How do you develop a new rub, or how do you go about that?
Well, I put my blends together and then I go try them out. Like I do like a 3 to 4 different cooks on different blends to make sure it tastes well. So I've got plenty of friends and family that always give me an honest opinion. I always test that on my family. I don't want to call them guinea pigs, but they are they do go through the red dirt test trials.
Your test kitchen.
Exactly.
How many versions of your original rub did you go through before you found the one you liked?
First one had to be about 9 because I'm pretty indecisive as well. But for it to be the first one, I was almost I overly criticized the first one because it was the first one. I mean, and I mean, we're our own worst critics. Yeah, especially if you're a creator, you're your own worst critic because it's never going to be good enough. And of course, I wouldn't want to launch something. You're always unsure. You got to still kind of tiptoeing in the water before you jump in the deep end. And so there were like 9 different blends. I had a few blends I liked, a few I didn't like. Some were too salty, some were too sugary. Some had too much hint of this, too much hint of that. Some were too spicy. So I found the one that worked best.
What makes a good seasoning rather over just an average? And I'm not a connoisseur of seasoning, so you're going to have to tell me
Well, this
what separates the men from the boys? What separates the good seasonings from the average, do
a
you
good
think?
season, I feel like gives you the best notes, the best flavor notes. And I mean, of course, you want to be able to. It's one where you have to go back to it. I mean, because like I've used seasonings where I bought them one time and I was like, yeah, it was all right. I probably won't go back to that. It's one you want to. It's one where like let's say you're cooking for the job, cooking for your family, and you have the seasoning, and everybody's complimenting your cook. I mean, now, I mean, you got so many compliments the first time. You're like, well, let me keep using that seasoning because, if you change it up, now they're like, what happened to the last, meal we had? Last time you made steaks, it tastes a little bit different. So I feel like a good seasoning is when you go back to because you can buy because I'm not the only one on the market. I mean, you got to think about that. There's tons of competition. It's a highly saturated market. I mean, so the best one wins. I mean, just like basketball, best player wins. You got tons of basketball, but there's always the best one. So it's a competition out here. It is. So you want to be the one, the memorable one, the one with the best story, and the one with the best flavor notes. Because there might be a lot of seasons out there, but there's way more flavors out there. I think I looked it up the other day. I think because a lot of seasons come out of India, so I looked it up. There's like over like 700 blends of seasoning. So I mean, there's countless amounts of blends you can make, but it's just like a science. It's like how many of this, how many of that, how much. I mean, how much do I want to put that in there? What complements what? What's married with what to make it the best notes? What goes best with pork? What goes best with chicken? There's multiple animals out there, multiple vegetables out there. It really comes down to a science, and at the end of the day, like I said, you have to just have trial and error with every seasoning. What makes a good seasoning, like I said, is the one that makes people want to come back every time.
Hmm. Is there a combination of flavors, seasonings, the ingredients in the seasonings that you thought would be, you were like, man, this is going to be the one, and it turned out just to be a bomb?
Uh, I think, well, I'm working on a chicken fry right now. So currently, I feel like that's the one because the rest of my seasonings I haven't had an issue with. The first one was the worst one. I mean, that was the one, like I said, I was indecisive. But once I got my confidence together and kind of figured out what notes I wanted to go with, I always kind of just adjust. And then because I'm on number 5 right now. So like I said, there's not one where I wasn't. I've yet to be iffy on one, or kind of like reluctant on like putting one out. I've always like I said, I've always just kind of gone with my taste buds, and they haven't steered me wrong yet. But the only thing, like I said, I pulled away from my chicken fry because chicken fries are hard. It's a hard one because, like I said, that's gonna be the one that kind of like really tests out my like, yeah, I guess my flavors. And also, like I say, it's I'm leaving the kind of like the realm of like, of like, fry. I'm not being grilling and like sauteing. It's more, like I said, frying is a whole different ballpark. And I haven't really gotten into frying. I mean, I fry really good, but I haven't really gotten into it, had time to get into it. But so far, the blend is being worked on right now. So that's the one that's really kind of like got me with all my time, figuring out the best chicken fry I want to pull out. Because along with the seasoning, you don't want to put out a bad chicken fry because you only get one chance at that. But one thing people do love that I did test out a ton is my barbecue sauce, which I mean, I had that out for 3 or 4 years, but it's just hard to have. I don't have room for it right now. I had Lottaburger actually carried my barbecue sauce in their sandwiches for about 2 years.
Oh
They
yeah.
had, they had a red dirt steak sandwich that sold out every week. There's a red dirt steak sandwich. It had thinly sliced ribeye, Texas toast, sauteed onions, with barbecue sauce and bacon, and that was a really good. It's actually on my post. It's an older post, but they sold a ton of them through a lot of burger. But I haven't put sauce back out yet. I get a lot of requests. I get probably over 100 requests for it a year, but I just don't have the room for it. I'm just a small company. Once I'm larger and I can actually have room to produce more items, I will. But currently, the best thing for me is just to have the 5 blends I have and stock the 38 stores I stock. Because I'm in 38 stores currently in Oklahoma. They're all small stores and like local stores like in Jenks and like Edmond and Collinsville and Owasso and Bartlesville, of course, and then in Dewey. I'm in a lot of small markets, but I've yet to land a big fish so far.
How do you maintain consistency from package to package so it's the same yesterday, today,
It's always
tomorrow?
it's always the same ingredients, same amount. You don't change. Whatever you do, don't change. I make sure every bag is the same. And every label, every nutrition label, every color, everything is always the same. I don't change anything. Every blend is different, but I know every blend.
So do you make these from your home, or do you have some?
I blend them in Tulsa.
You blend them in Tulsa. Okay. And so they're the ones in control of exact measures and
So I blend them in Tulsa. No one blends them but me.
oh, you do. Okay.
Yeah. Every bag is done by me. No machines, nothing. Black gloves and me. That's it.
Oh man. What's the hardest part of turning a recipe into a packaged product that could, legally and consistently be sold to customers? What's the hardest part?
Hardest part, I'm trying to think. Honestly, it's not a hard process. It's not. I mean, once you get to like sauces and more perishable, like highly perishable foods and things like that, that's a harder process. But dry goods aren't really a hard process.
Is it?
There's a process, but it's not a
Yeah.
hard process.
Yeah.
Like I said, like things like dry goods aren't a hard process, especially in Oklahoma. You have your bylaws, you have things like that. But if you're making dry good blends or if yeah, things like that, they're not hard. It's as far as the hardest thing to do is you need to have LLC or have your own own corp or whatever. You have to have legally if you're selling your tax IDs things like that. Your nutrition labels on the back. You need to make sure there's peanuts involved or if there's wheat. Make sure it's gluten free. If it's gluten free, all my items are gluten free, peanut free, and there's a lot. There's no dyes in my items. There's no MSG. So I make sure to put that on the back of my packaging.
So how do you persuade someone to try your seasonings when they've probably got a cabinet full of different seasonings? I mean,
Well,
it's not you doing it. It's your I guess it's you doing it and marketing and so yeah. Tell me.
Well, let them know I'm from Bartlesville, Oklahoma, born and raised, 100% American. I let them know that everything I have, my labels are done in America. My packaging is done in America. My shirts, all my everything about my company is American. I let them know that from the get go. I'm like, I'm an American company. I'm, born and raised here out of Oklahoma. All my seasonings I do order that they're all organic. They're non-dye, non-peanut. I give them that. I let them know they're not too spicy, and I let them know that the only one that has sugar in it is the barbecue one, and so that's the only one that contains sugar. And I also let them know they get a lot of bang for their buck. I mean, because like my bags are massive for $12. You can't beat that. Well, that's what I also let them know. But then I also direct them to my reviews. I have 105 stars. I've never gotten less than 5 stars. So a big selling point is letting them know I have 105 reviews on Etsy, and then I'm 8 years in business. I mean, to make it 8 years, you have to literally have a solid product. No one just makes it 8 years not having a solid product.
Right.
Because like, I mean, the failure rate's like 95% after the first year,
Mm-hmm.
and after you make it 5 years, you're pretty much in the game. But like about so I mean, my selling point is letting them know, you're getting a quality American product that's obviously trusted by hundreds of people, and that I mean, I've had a name for so long, and then I'm also the face of my company. I mean, I'm literally in 8 social medias. I'm the face of my company. I mean, all my news articles, all my newspaper articles, all my interviews. I'm the face. There's no group, there's no investors, there's no this, there's no one packaging. It's literally me versus the world and my products. And then I put my own labels on. I make my own blends. I do my own. I mean, like literally, I hand put my posters up with Scotch tape. I literally do it all. I hand out my own business cards. I shake my own hands. I do my own
You
events.
shake your own hand.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I shake my own hands. So like, I'm the only one shaking hands out here. It's all me.
Yeah. Well, Tyler, I really appreciate the time and kind of giving us an insight into this very niche business. And if someone wants to buy your product, where do they go?
Well, if you're in Bartlesville, you can go to Moxie on Second, Prices Immediate, Grayson's Donut Hole. There's Early Bird Market downtown, and there's Peter's True Value in Dewey or Bartlesville Cycle Sports.
Is there an online if they're not in Bartlesville? Can someone go online if they're listening out of state here? And
I shipped all 50 states on my Etsy. So if you go to reddirtrubs.com, and you can get I can ship to all 50 states.
that's
And
cool.
then also, if you, during I have Red Dirt Weekend coming up September 4th and 5th, so I'll have plenty of items there as well that they can purchase.
So you do this event once a year? Is that it's your event, right?
Yeah, once a year it's Red Dirt Weekend. It's once a year, and it's a 2-day event. On that Friday is a dinner at the community center. It's all you can eat barbecue. It's a live country band, DJ. You get merch. It's a great event. And the next day we have food trucks. So just winging it, and there's a Bartlesville lemonade truck as well. So I mean, there's two food trucks so far, and it's free food trucks with the ticket as well. And if there's time, I have a few sponsors that actually sponsor the event. So there's Sutterfield, they're a big sponsor for the event. Matt Spence, State Farm. You got Jackson Maintenance. You have I don't know. There's so many. There's Moxie on Second. Bartlesville Cycle Sports. God, dog. I've Three Sisters Nutrition. There's so many. I don't want to miss anybody. I'm sorry. I don't want to miss anybody. Yeah. I would. Everybody is literally on my page. Go look at my page for all sponsors, because I feel like there's so many sponsors that I keep. Misty's Bell Bonds. You can't forget about them. There's so many sponsors this year. I'm trying to remember everybody.
Well, to help
It's
you out, we can I'll list all the links that you mentioned, and we'll put a list down below in the show notes of all your sponsors.
hate missing people because there's so many. There's Cutler Construction. it's just there's just so many sponsors because the community always sponsors my event, and there's so many because now it's hard to remember everybody. Who else? Career Employment Services. They're a sponsor this year as well. It's out of control. But I love everybody though. If I missed you, I'm sorry. I really am because I know there's so many sponsors, and I don't want to leave anybody out.
Yeah. Well, I understand that, and we'll take care of that in the show notes so everybody
Definitely.
gets
I just appreciate it. If everybody know, I try to remember everybody. Like I said, I've never been this age before, so I'm trying to. I'm trying to remember as much.
Yeah.
I try to remember as much as I can at this age.
Well, Tyler, I really appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Thanks for doing this again. I know we had some hiccups the first time we tried this, and so the second time, I guess that's the charm for us.
No, I hopefully.
Yeah.
Don't mess it up, Scott.
All right. Well, for Tyler Glenn and Red Dirt Rubs, this is Scott Townsend. Thanks for watching, listening to the Scott Townsend Show. Have a great day. Everything's going to be all right. And we'll talk to you later.
For more episodes, visit the Scott Townsend Show YouTube channel, listen on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.